We have to do what we do best, I guess.
If I hand you lemons.
Yeah, there we go. See, this is the spot.
Yeah.
See, but even after that, my thing says I have no internet access.
We're having chocolate.
I'm afraid to get out of mine, because I'm gonna get back into it.
And
That's where I'm at.
Grenache in the middle. Yum. Sounds good right now. I'm always hungry.
Well, update. Maybe better not.
Okay, we're
You
good.
good?
Yep.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the June minutes. Everybody had a chance to review them. If there are no corrections or additions, need a motion to approve.
So move.
Got a motion to approve the minutes, need a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? Thank you. Okay, unfinished business. First thing up is Stephen Reed and Kayla Metzger pickleball and sidewalk.
Yes, I'd received a phone call from Stephen about coming to address the board. He asked to be on the agenda, so I put them on the agenda. And
Okay.
if you want to come up to the podium, more than welcome to talk.
I'm Steve Reed, and I represent part of the group in Warsaw called the Pickleball Fanatics. Just want to give you a little background on pickleball. It originated in 1965 out in the state of Washington. And when it first started, it was in 2 countries. Today, it's in 82 countries. It's the fastest growing sport in the world, and is soon going to be an Olympic sport. So that growth not only has happened worldwide, it's happened here in Warsaw as well. We're a large group. I send out an email every week, letting everybody know when we're playing and where. I send out 166 emails to people. We have a Facebook page that also puts that information out. So what's happened is our group has grown so much that we're out of space and we're out of time. We play at Kelly Park, part of us do. We have a recreational side, and we also have a competitive side. So we all were together. We got so big that we couldn't house everyone at Kelly Park. And so thanking you guys for coming to the plate and putting in the courts at Center Lake. So thank you very much for that and seeing that. But even as that growth happened, now we've had to split. The competitive side has gone to Winona Lake. The recreational side has stayed at Kelly Park. Even with that, we're growing, it seems weekly. We get more people and more people and more people that come. And a lot of times we'll have all 4 courts totally full with anywhere from 16 to 18 people waiting to play. So what we're asking is that we could stripe the tennis courts with a different color, and we have funding for that. And those days when we are totally full with all these people wanting to play, we could utilize those 2, we would have 2 courts out of the 1 tennis court. We could utilize those courts as well with our own portable nets. So all that would happen would be just striped. And with the stipulation that everyone with our group would know that if someone came to play tennis, we would yield the court to them. Yeah, so we have funding for it, if it would be approved. And it's something that everyone who plays realizes we just need more. We need more courts. So, Bart, anything to add? This is my wife, Bart. We kind of run the recreational side. Kind of.
I believe our funding is up to $5,000 for painting the ones on, not taping, but we would like to paint it so they're permanent. And then she is also going to do the nets that we were just taking with us each time.
If you could come up to the microphone, that way everybody can see it, yeah, appreciate it, thank you.
For those of you that don't play, we play every winter in Florida, and it's the same concept. They're tennis courts. They do have their hours, and then pickleball has their hours, so that there's no ever, too many people for the courts. But it works out well. The lines don't confuse you. They may, if you haven't done it before, or you may think, oh, shoot, that was the out of bounds, or it wasn't the out of bounds, whatever. But it's real easy to distinguish what your boundaries are and what tennis boundaries are. So it shouldn't be an issue for tennis any more than it is for us. So like right now, they're striped in white. So if we could do like orange stripes, so there would be a distinct boundary, it would be a great help to us, those that play pickleball. And we invite all of you to come and learn. Once you play, you'll be hooked. There's no doubt. Any age, I think we have an 82-year-old, 86,
I play Saturday mornings with my daughter at Center Lakes.
and you love it, don't you?
I do, I enjoy it.
Yeah, great exercise, great socializing. It's really a great sport. It's a lot of fun. So, thanks.
You guys have any questions for us on this part of it?
So are you talking about striping at Kelly Lake Park and at Center Lake Park both, or?
Just Kelly for now, because that's where the Fanatics play, our group that we call ourselves the Fanatics. And like I say, we have actually two groups that play there now. We have a morning group that plays Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. And we have an evening group that plays Tuesday, Thursday. They play Tuesday, Thursday evenings. So right now, we have two different groups that play there. What's that?
Our goal is to not have to split because you lose that connection. Now, advanced went on, and that's understandable because we're not fast enough for them. It's not competitive for them. But as recreational, we don't want to have to split up. We enjoy everybody. We want to stay together. We want to play together. But you just don't get the playing time when it's as busy as it is. And so we've extended our hours a little bit. We're starting to go earlier for now.
When you're playing there, do you see many tennis?
Me personally, I've been playing for about 3 years. I've never seen a tennis game at all. I've seen some come and practice or serve, but I've never seen a game at all. And we've even invited, when they're just serving, for them to try pickleball, see how they like it. So I haven't had a taker, but you have any tennis games? And Chris, the parks guy that comes and checks the, he has heard us invite them as well. So I don't know the academy, he did say he'd have heard us ask. Anyway.
I don't know about the evening folks, on Tuesday, Thursday evening, if they encounter any tennis players, but the times that we play, which is 8 a.m. to about 11:30, we just don't see tennis players there most of
How often do you have people waiting
to play.
to play?
Every day. It just depends on how many come. We might have 8, we may have 18. It
Eight's
just
a
depends.
small day.
Yeah,
Eight's
eight's a
an
small
unusual
day.
day.
To play?
To play. And we rotate in and out. We have a system where if a game gets over, 4 people come off the court, 4 more go in, and we're in charge of, kind of keeping track of who goes when. So if we had 2 more courts, it would certainly help us out.
And you're looking at painting.
Painting.
They wouldn't be a tape.
Right.
Yeah.
Tape isn't
Type
gonna
stripe.
last. That's
How do
all.
you put up the portable nets? Is there?
You just assemble them yourself, and so the tennis court goes this way, we'll set the portable nets this way. They're piping.
Yeah.
You just fit together, with the lock, or the, what do you call it?
But they just slide together. It's just pipes that slide together, and then that goes between the 2 posts. But we would supply
That
that
wouldn't
as-
like pose a hazard. I've never seen pickleball. I don't know if just because, but like no one's gonna get injured with the portable nets.
No, we use them all winter long at Gordon Rec Center. So, and that's all we use at CCAC.
And I guess that was a question. They have pickleball courts at CCAC?
They do. They have 3.
They have three sets or 3 courts?
3 courts.
3 courts period.
Yes.
Did the Y put in new more
I'm not
courts?
sure about the why. I don't know.
They used to, and I heard it was really bad because when you go to serve, your paddle would hit the wall or the curtains. I've not been in there. And then I hate to, don't hold me to this because it's just things I hear. I think they redid the floors and then stopped it there because it wasn't a large enough, but I'm not positive about that because I personally have not been there.
They just put in a new recreational facility outside
Oh,
for
they did?
pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do think it has pickleball courts.
Yes.
thought I
Yeah.
read
But it's-
I don't know how many.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
See,
but
again,
yeah.
if it's not enough for us to
Yeah.
play
Mhm.
together, we don't want to split up as a group.
The other thing
Well-
that's happening now, they're even teaching this in schools. I mean, school kids are learning it, so the youngsters are coming out now as well. It's getting to be just a lot of fun.
We have no doubt that pickleball is, the best thing that's happening. We understand that. I look at it as an aspect that we have to provide recreation for everyone.
Sure.
I do have multiple pictures here while you guys are playing with tennis players on the courts
Okay.
from our cameras out there.
Most of them are in the evening, so.
Most of them are in the evening.
Is there a
Yeah.
time on your
So,
calendar or not?
So I know they do get used. And with that being said, I've got to speak for the tennis players that call my office as well.
Sure.
They call and they're intimidated by the amount of people that are out there and they don't want to come play while you're there.
Really?
That's what I get. I mean, Suzanne has had several calls as well.
Intimidated in what way?
They just don't feel that they're welcome there.
I think just the sheer number
Just
of
the
the
sheer
guys
number of
because
people that are there,
popularity.
they just feel like, oh, they're
Plus,
overran.
it's hard to find a parking spot when you guys
Yeah.
are out there.
Yeah.
You know
I think
that.
people- It was a long time before I knew there was a back lot. So I think maybe a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that lot's back.
That's possible.
Is
Yeah,
that right?
Sure.
No, it's very possible.
But
But,
it's kind of funny because I see the courts at Winona full with pickleball and tennis.
Mhm.
And they don't seem intimidated. It seems like tennis is played there a lot.
I'm just telling you what the phone calls that I've received. I've received them from you, I've received them from the tennis community as well. So I'm just.
And,
just
and
putting it
I
out
know
there.
you said that if somebody came to play tennis, you would clear the court.
Absolutely.
But unless you're there all the time.
We're there.
I
all the
can't,
time.
I don't know if I would go for that.
Okay.
I just.
Well, we
but
talked to
I know-
most of our
I know when
people.
this came up before, we had people say that some of the pickleball people were mouthing with them.
And Chris did tell me that, but I am 100% sure it did not come from our morning
Well-
group. No, it's advanced.
The advance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's good.
advanced
Yeah.
never are.
They don't want to play, they don't want to mingle in.
Fact is, if they get anybody lower than them, they send them over because they don't want to deal with them. So-
That's a shame that we have advance and beginners and all this. I mean, to me, a community should be all playing together at all
Yeah,
skill
it
levels.
doesn't- it
Absolutely.
doesn't work that way.
That's the part that's sad to me, that we've split this up to advance,
We
to
didn't like
this,
that.
and to
That's what they
beginners,
wanted,
but,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are
No, I
these-
get it. That's an organizational thing, but,
When you say advance, are these the players themselves?
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with the configuration of the nets or
No, no,
the
these are just
striping or
players.
anything
They're
like that?
played more, they're a lot better players, and they want to compete against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And not so, we're recreational folks. We just go out to have fun.
And they don't
enjoy
play at
people.
Kelly Park.
They do,
Pardon
well,
me?
they did, until it
They
got too big, and then as soon as Winona opened, they went. They play there. And they are advanced, and they really don't like to play with people like us. Just because we're out for fun.
I'm Bill Moore. The advanced group play in a lot of tournaments around Fort Wayne, South Bend, Plymouth. So they're trying to fine tune their game.
Yeah.
And as a recreational group, we're out there just to have fun. So that's where the advance and the recreational difference is. They're, I don't want to say they're more serious, but
yeah.
they are a little more serious with their game, and so that's the difference between the two.
So what would happen if you would provide more courts and then the advance comes back to Kelly Park?
I don't think they would do that.
How do we know that?
Well, how do you know it's going to rain?
Can't trust a meteorologist.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, you mentioned that where you play in Florida, there's like posted hours. If the courts are like these days and these hours for pickleball and these days and these hours for tennis, would you be proposing that perhaps like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the mornings, when you have the most people, that be reserved for pickleball? I mean, are you wanting something like that here? I'm just wondering actually if something like that might not work on that court. Not in the evenings, because we know they're used by people in the evenings, but whether or not in the mornings, then people would know and could plan. I don't know, it's just a thought, because I've never.
We weren't asking for that, because we don't want to take anything away from tennis. I mean, that would be ideal, that would be great, and then everybody knew, you don't walk on there. I'm not sure in Florida, because it's just a small community, if it's not an unspoken rule, but they do refer to that, so.
And the courts there are all, both tennis and pickleball?
They're all
striped?
tennis
Same,
ball.
the same.
Yeah, tennis
But
ball.
we, and their tennis nets are fixed, and then we wheel out the portable court, nets for pickleball. So it
Yeah.
works well down there.
You can get 2 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court. And so the net of the tennis court would be the backdrop for each side of the pickleball court.
We only have the one tennis court out there, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's one tennis
For
court.
pickleball.
I have to go with what Larry says, obviously, the kind of the parks that, we wish we could be everything to everybody. And I have talked, this was brought up, what, a year or 2 ago?
About a year
when
ago.
that
A year ago, yeah.
was brought up, and this may be getting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. There's no additional lands out there to even add a 3rd court at this point, is there?
No.
And I think there was some discussion a couple of years ago with maybe some of the adjoining property owners, but that never materialized.
Correct.
Again, getting ahead of myself, what is the cost of paving and putting a separate court in? Yeah, any thoughts at all, Larry, on a?
Well, it's hard to say because both facilities that we did, we had tennis courts there to start with, and then we reconditioned. We had $80,000 in one, and we had 90 in the other one. So that was with a glass grid, asphalt, mesh. We did that on the first tennis courts, and it lasted 20 years. So it's a good investment to put that down. But I would think if you're starting from the base or somewhere, I'm not an estimator by any means, but I think you'd be around the $120,000 range to get some courts in like that.
I mean, if you wanted to know, Winona Lake just put in 4 pickleball courts and they started from scratch. So
Yeah.
you could probably find out from their parks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah.
I know there's not much land there. We've often thought if you go south 2 courts, and that would mean moving the basketball court, but I would think that is a big undertaking, to move the basketball court over just a little bit, and that way they could all be consecutive still together. Because I don't think there's any land west at all, is there?
No.
'Cause
It
the little
kind of comes in
shed
at an angle there.
says this is-
That's what Larry was
Yeah.
referring to. I think we
Yeah.
looked at acquiring like 6, what was it, how many acres right there on the back of that?
Yeah,
6 or something like that, but it never
Yeah, I don't know
materialized.
south it would work. I mean, we weren't even asking for that.
no, I
know
guess
that's a big
I'm
undertaking.
drawn for
Yeah, for future.
grasping for straws here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I know you mentioned you had $5,000 in your
Yes.
account to do this, and I'm thinking, oh, well, add a little bit more. If you could get additional private funding, we could just put another whole court in.
Sure, that would be amazing.
Specifically for pickleball. I have to, agree with what Larry says. And it's, we've went through this before, and I think there were we were concerned, and I went out to, at that point when we discussed this, went out to the high school, and it does leave markings in there,
Yeah.
in the courts. But, I know it's popular, and so many people are playing this. I've been out to Kelly when it's just packed, right? Like you say,
Yeah.
but I'm a
No,
little
there's no
hesitant,
doubt.
but.
It's growing, leaps and bounds. Okay.
I'd be hard pressed to move the basketball court right now since we just repaved it and it's gonna be striped within a week or two here.
Okay,
but, yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah,
And yeah,
but,
like
yeah.
I said, we weren't asking to build
No, I know
it.
you
It'd be
weren't.
awesome
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
did, but if we could just utilize the court when it's not being used by tennis, that would be helpful. And we're not saying it would be all the time then, because it's when we get the 18, 20 people that it takes quite a while to rotate to be able to play.
Yeah.
I know Florida, they're waiting up to 2 hours. We don't want to wait 2 hours. So it kind of takes the fun out of it.
And how late in the season do you typically
So you close
play?
the park, because then there's,
Yeah.
a lot of them can't be there that long without a restroom,
Yeah.
so.
So while you guys are playing at Kelly Park, there's nobody playing at Center Lake Park?
Yes, the advanced are playing.
No, Center Lake.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because we were so busy, we had 4 people leave and go play there, but those are not made. There is a little bit of, what do you want to call it? They're too close together. They're not made to where they're supposed to be. So the nets are very close.
You go back for a backhand, or you go back to
You're
get the ball,
hitting
and you're
something,
hitting the
you're hitting.
fence
Yeah.
almost all the way
So
around.
nobody wants to play there because it's
Just not enough room.
At Center Lake, you're talking?
Yes, Center Lake.
Yeah.
And I know you need.
I play every weekend there. I haven't had that problem.
Yeah.
But, how close are, let me ask you, how close the ones at the CCAC are? They're closer than.
They
the-
are, you're right, they are, but
Yeah,
that's
they
not
are.
ideal either. That's why we're no longer there anymore.
Yeah,
So the only time that we can't play at Gordon in the summer is June and 2 weeks of July. So we have to go to CCAC on rain days, and you can't possibly get many in there.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of us just don't go. But, yeah, we make it work if we have to, but we would rather not. It's dim in there, the floor's not good, but it's better than nothing.
And that's at CCAC?
Yeah.
And there's-
Gordon gives us 6 courts.
I'm sorry?
Gordon gives us 6 courts.
Okay.
Gordon at, Grace
Over at
College.
Grace College.
Grace College.
Yeah.
Is Grace College lined, permanently lined?
For several different things. And that's part of what I'm saying. Once you acclimate yourself to your boundaries, you don't even see the rest of the lines. Because they even have track running through our pickleball boundaries.
So what portion plays at Grace?
Well,
And
we
the
all play there
advanced
on
or
rain
all-
days.
Oh, all of you play?
It's kind of split in half. There's 3 courts over here, there's 3 courts over here. And again, the recreational folks stay on one side and the advanced people stay on the other side.
They go back and forth a little sometimes.
And we went out, they pulled those courts are taped, they're not painted.
Yeah.
And they took the tape up for their camps. And then we went out, and a bunch of the guys from pickleball went out and retaped them. So the tape, you can tape.
Yeah.
But that's indoors, it's not in the elements. So,
That might be a suggestion, if it's possible, to take the tennis courts at Kelly and see how things progress down the road.
Yeah.
If it's not an issue.
That's what we had the damage
And then
from.
maybe paint.
Yeah, the tape is the one that caused damage, I believe, out of the high school.
well, that's what I was worried about too,
Yeah.
with the heat getting sticky
Yeah.
and things like that. That's why I thought just painting them would be a better option.
Well, I understand why you want what you do, but this is just me speaking for myself, I'm not willing to mess with another tennis court. I think, like Larry said, we need to keep these available for people who want to play tennis. And I know you say there won't be any trouble out there, but I would just about bet there would before the year's over.
Well, I can't speak for everybody, I can only speak for our
Yeah.
group on Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. So, I mean, realistically, somebody can go out there now and set up a portable net and play, with or without the stripes. So,
Anybody else have anything to say?
I would tend to agree with you as much as I would love to. I know that sport is growing and there are great people that's in your groups. I'm a little hesitant with what Larry says, and we've been down this route before, I'm just not sure I'm ready to make that decision to go ahead and paint.
Okay, well, keep an open mind. I know you've been down the route before, but that was 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's grown tremendously in 2 years,
What's,
tremendously.
What's everybody else feel?
We did, when they came last, we did put in more courts.
At
But
Center
they're
Lake,
indicating
yeah.
that they're not using those courts because
Basically,
don't
we
like
didn't-
them,
basically,
so-
we didn't do
Divides
it
the
to
group,
suit 'em,
which-
yeah.
Well,
They're
and-
no longer the same group if we divide, and those, no offense to you, Larry, once you play more, those tennis courts, or those pickleball courts are not good. The one corner dies way more than normal, and you hit the nets, or the fence behind you, and the nets are very close together. Not that we don't have sometimes when one of our balls will go to the next court, because they do, but if Steve's playing here and I'm playing here, in pickleball, you have the option to go outside your boundary and hit the ball back in. I would run into his court, and we may run into each other, and that's why nobody wants to play there. That might be a health hazard.
There are quite a few that do play there, though. I mean, we have cameras there as well, and they were just loaded all last year, so I understand they're not to your standards, but for a recreational site, they are used. Yeah, and that was the only option we had to put those courts in there, was to make that room and to make them that size because of the light structures, and that's the funding that we had from K-21. So we did the best we could with what we had to provide more courts, to try to grow the sport. So I'm sorry they don't meet your standards, but I think they meet a lot of people's standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've only played there once. I'm only voicing opinion of those that have played there, and we played there right now.
Yeah. A lot of people play at night too. We have lights there. so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, well,
Another thing I know you were concerned about, the sidewalk, and we had talked about that. Yeah, yes. I know you had talked about that and donating the sidewalk work, and we had a stormwater.
concrete work,
Yeah, the
yes.
concrete work.
Yes.
We had a stormwater project that was going to bring the stormwater pipe between the shelter and the tennis court. That project was vetted out, it was getting ready to start, and they found an engineering problem with the elevations. So it's been on the burner for over a year now. I've got with the city engineer, and they're looking at doing an alternative project that may not involve that pipe. But until I know that for sure, I'm not going to have you put a sidewalk in there and have it getting ripped out.
Okay.
So I should know within the next month whether or not that is going to go through there. They're looking at just dredging the pond now and having runoff redo the ditch that comes down Foley Street, as opposed to redoing all of the stormwater coming through the park that way. So as soon as I find that out, I haven't forgot you, it's been on the back burner, but I just didn't want to put that in and waste the money to have it dug up before I knew
Okay.
whether or not that pipe was coming through there or not. Our guys are out there now, they painted the structure, the metal. As soon as we have the end of the rentals, and I think it's August.
End of the
isn't it?
month.
End of August, they're going to tear the roof off of that and then put a new roof on it and new siding on the shelter too. So
Okay.
maybe at that time, if I know, we can get the concrete work done as well, so.
Okay,
You know,
well, I
appreciate
want to
that.
clarify,
Yeah.
the money is donated for the concrete totally. And it is my sister-in-law
Yeah,
that's
yep,
doing it.
yep.
I didn't disclose that before.
Okay.
I mean, we could use some help with the forms and everything, and then my son-in-law has a concrete business, and he said that he would, I mean, she would have to pay for the concrete, obviously,
Yeah.
but none of that money would have to come from the city. Whoops.
And that was my understanding when I talked to you about
Yes,
it.
yes.
And I was all for it, and I still am for it.
Yeah.
I know you guys go from the shelter to the courts there, and sometimes when it rains, it gets muddy, and you're bringing it on the court, and I totally understand that. I just didn't want you to pour it and have to rip it back up for.
Well,
for a
it
project.
actually, what I was thinking was, you know the sidewalk that comes up there? Run a sidewalk that comes all the way down to the, is that the north of the fence?
The
Back
side-
by the shelter?
The sidewalk that heads towards the playgrounds.
Yes.
Showers to the west,
And-
yeah.
To the east.
Oh,
East.
so you
Okay.
want one to go all the way around the court?
Yes, come,
We'd have to
come
figure
all the way.
something out on the drainage on that
Right.
northeast corner there, because
Yeah.
that's where the drainage comes through there. We'll have to take a look at that, if that's what you're talking, because I think when we originally talked, we were talking from the shelter to the east gate.
Well, that kind of would not help, because when you walk from that sidewalk across there, we have muddy feet, and then if we go in there,
I just assumed you were coming from the restrooms to the gate, to the courts, and then you went
Some
from the
do,
courts
and-
to the,
and
to
some
the shelter.
come-
That was the way it was
Yeah.
explained to me when we talked
I
about
mean, we
it.
can,
Yeah.
we can, address that, I guess. And maybe we could have one come from the shelter to the other one too, that would come.
Yeah, I'm willing to look at it. I mean,
And I'd
yeah,
like to donate a
figure
couple
something
benches too,
Okay.
out there
out. Yeah.
eventually, but,
No, we appreciate it. We'll work with you. I just want to make sure that project isn't coming through there. And I should
Yeah.
know, I talked to Aaron, and we should know by the end of the month
okay, all
what they're planning on working with and doing. So,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
We have a motion. What do you?
Well, if we're gonna do them, we would need a motion, but we don't need a motion not to.
Can we wait to do a motion or to?
Anybody else have anything on it? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the update on the pavilion.
Yeah, the Zimmer Biomet Center Lake Pavilion is moving along. As you can see by the attached photo, the sign has been installed. We were waiting on the water lines to be completed last week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
The water line has been completed. They just poured some concrete around the building yesterday and the inside mechanical room floor. So we can start moving on some of the IT stuff in there, the cameras, things with that, the AV. The roofing is almost complete. They've got some painting to touch up, a little bit of flooring, some mechanical stuff yet. We're scheduled to have a punch list walk through in the next week or so. So that's coming along. The park crew has went down and we have taken out all the concrete in front of the pavilion and the curb, the depressed curb there. The street department is down forming that up, but we wanted to make sure that was all nice concrete, new concrete out front, and makes it look good. So that's going. We hope to have the curb in before the milling. They're going to mill the turnaround the 22nd of August, and then they look to pave it the 23rd, 4th, and 5th to pave that turnaround there too as well. So things are coming together. The first event in there that we're planning is the Family Safety Day on the 16th of September. Some things still might not be complete. The storage room, lifeguard rooms, things of that sort, but we do anticipate that the main room will be usable for that event. And then the ribbon cutting is planned for the 27th. The time is still to be determined, but we believe it's in the afternoon. So I'll let you all know as soon as I know when that is, but the 27th of September. So very exciting. After the ribbon cutting, we'll start renting the facility and taking reservations. So it's coming along.
Questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Larry. On to new business, Central Park tree replacement.
Yeah, if you can see the attached pictures there, as you know, we had to do a tree replacement at the hill by the substation there, the NIPSCO substation. We did that and put our providers in there, and that's turned out really nice. We're now focusing on the east side of the park over by McDonald's. There were 2 rows of pines and a row of maple trees. So actually 3 rows on there, the pines and then the maples. And what actually happened is the maples, they do this when they plant fields with trees. They actually put the pines in and then put the trees, and then once the trees establish and get their canopy, it actually dies, the pines die out. So that's what happened in the center row there. The pines were completely dead, and Sean and the guys went over and removed those. But in looking at that, then the row of pines that's closest to McDonald's, half of those are dead on the backside. I mean, they look terrible. So what we're proposing is to remove those as well and then have Dogwood Hills Tree Farm come in and put 7 to 8 foot arborvitaes along there for screening. This accomplishes a couple things. It allows for the canopy of the tree to grow without shading if we put pines back in there, but it still offers a good barrier between McDonald's and our park. We have some on the north side of the restroom too. I think there's 9 trees proposed there as well. And we've lost 2 or 3 there over the years, and they're really, between a disease called needle cast and then just them being 30 years old, I feel that they need replaced and we need to do this. And so I guess that's what I'm asking your permission for, if we can remove the east side of the pine trees there and have Dogwood Hills come in and put those in. We're approximately 32 trees, 7 to 8 foot tall, 28-inch root balls, 150 foot on the south side of the restroom, and approximately 55 foot on the north side of the restroom. We got an estimate from Dogwood Hills Tree Farm, and it's $12,277 to do that work, to put those trees in, which I feel is a very, very good.
How many trees?
There's 32 of them.
30?
Yeah, yeah. Those are arborvitae.
Arborvitae, yeah.
Arborvitae, yeah.
You just need a motion for that because of the money involved in that?
Yeah, I would just like to have your permission to do that. Yes, absolutely.
I'd move to replace and take down and replace the trees as proposed.
Have a motion, we have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
I appreciate that, because I look down the road at the future, and I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, sometimes you got to take out, put new in, just so, generations far beyond us can enjoy things.
What's the life expectancy of arborvitae?
I've had mine for 25 years, and they still look great, so I mean, it's pretty long.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And they're a pretty strong plant.
They
too.
are.
I mean, they don't, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, next up, Center Lake Recreational Trail.
They started the mobilization of the equipment at Center Lake for the recreational trail. Of course, the trail was made possible due to a donation from the Sasso family. The project cost, the bid was $974,870. As you can see on the map there, the project includes cutting down the old pump house to 14 inches, and that'll be made into a deck for a future pier to go off of that'll provide some boat parking and fishing. New sidewalks, lights, some of them are new lights and some are just relocated lights, new benches, all the way from the interactive fountain all the way to the boat ramp at Center Lake. The sidewalks will go by the Center Lake Pavilion and allow for an ADA access into the pavilion. The beach will be one continuous beach with lifeguard chairs on the beach, so we'll put rope out for the swim area. The recreational volleyball court will be on the beach, as well as access to our kayak and paddleboard kiosks. I think on that map that you showed you, that was the original one. The kiosks are shown by the pavilion there. They're actually going to be more to the end of the beach towards the public access site where we have them now. The reason we had them so close to the pavilion was we had camera access on them now, and now we have access to cameras on them where they're at. And I just think it's a better location. It's easier to get them in the water there, and it's away from the pavilion area there. So, but a lot of good things going. I think they've got till December 8th to complete this project, so it's going to move pretty quick. So during this project, though, the access to the beach and the swimming area will be restricted. They're going to put a fencing up through the park there. We're just concerned about the construction equipment and safety concerns, of course. But so we'll have a few months here where the water is restricted. However, during Family Safety Day, they're going to have their machinery put away, and we're going to be able to open up the fencing to allow access to the lake, so the fire department can still do their rescue stuff on there, and then we can still have the eco tours for the Safety Fest. So those plans are in the work for the 15th and 16th to allow that to happen. So contractor's been very good working with us on that so far. So good things to come. I don't know if you got any questions on that?
How wide is the walk?
I think it's 6 foot.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Should be a good project. The crews started tearing out some of the pier section, the ramp part of it. We did that because we want the whole beach part accessible. I like the project. As you know, they're going after funding to try to remove the rest of the pier, but with that, we opened it up today, and it's kind of unknown what's in there, but it looks like it's all sand fill. I'm sure there's another pier inside of it, but it's not hollowed out or full of water. So that's a good thing. That might help us with some of the bids for the unknown as to what's under the pier when it's removed. So I had Aaron come down today and take a look at that so he can look at that and kind of let the contractors know that this is the situation, and, you know, maybe when we get the funding, we can rebid that. So, yep. We have put up, we are putting up temporary fencing around the pier there, so it won't be accessible, just because of safety. But I don't know if any of you have been down there, but you can look at the side. I mean, the metal on the side, I mean, it's bulging out a foot, and I mean, you can fall through it. It's in bad shape.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Larry. Next up, maintenance report.
Well, yeah, so we're currently down to one summer seasonal employee. Everybody else has gone back to school. We had a great summer. We accomplished a lot. Stephanie, I think, on the rec as well. It's like one of the best summers we've ever had for a lot of
100%.
years. And I'm not sure if it's because of great employees, maybe our leadership training's involved with it. It really went well this year. So, and a lot of these employees are young and they're going to come back for years to come. So I think we're going to have a lot of great years coming up. We did officially finish our end of Rarick Park. We're still waiting on K&M to come and stripe the basketball court there. It sounds like now that school's getting back in session, they're going to come pretty quickly to wrap those up. And then the whole park will be complete.
Drove by there yesterday, it's beautiful.
Thank you,
It's
yeah.
It's
really
nice, I've been by it and I've seen people.
Yeah, well, we had neighborhood kids waiting for us to get
Yeah.
the wood fiber down so they could play on some of that
Yeah, we've been down
stuff.
by there
So,
several times there.
We'll get a ribbon cutting scheduled for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
yep, so we have all the grade work's done, all the grass seeds planted, just waiting for everything to establish, but it's been a hit so far on the playground. We, as Larry said, we've been doing all that work around the pavilion, ripped up all the concrete in front and curbing, and working with the street department on that. Street department's going to come in and re-pour the concrete. Wastewater also did a little updating on the sewer line coming out there as well. So hopefully, moving forward, everything's going to work as it should, and they won't have to come check it every Friday to make sure there's not a backup and things like that. We began refurbishing the shelters, all the metal steel shelters, so Kelly Park, Byer Park, and Kiwanis Park. We're going to repaint all of the metal framework, which we have completed already. Now we're going to begin just basically tearing all the metal and wooden framework down, and we've already bought all that material to replace them. We've started tearing the roofing down at Kiwanis now. We're going to go through and replace all of that, the roofing, the siding, the wood framework. And then after the end of the month, then we're going to start on Byer and Kelly, and hopefully by the end of September, sometime in October, we'll have them wrapped up and looking nice. We're really lucky to have employees that are able to do this work in-house. I think we're saving a lot of money. We don't pay those guys what they're worth. I can tell you that. I hope one of these days they get it, though. Also, Diane, I'm sure you've noticed Byer Farm Trail. We put a lot of work in Byer Farm Trail and trimming back all the trees and weeds and everything overgrowing there. We've got a lot of positive feedback about that as well. Hopefully, we've got it trimmed back far enough now, it's going to be easier to maintain and keep everything from overgrowing the trail for in the future. So it turned out great. We did it right. We didn't just leave everything in the weeds. We took everything out and hauled it away. And I think we can run the mower down each side of it now, so hopefully that'll help keep it down.
the
No more
best I've ever
poison
seen.
ivy to jump over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, like Larry said, we worked on the one row of trees there in Central Park. We're currently running our stump grinder to remove the stumps there. And then, since we got your guys' permission, we'll go to town on the rest of those and get with Dogwood Hills and schedule them and come replace them.
Something else we'll do while we're doing that project, we've had numerous breaks in the electric for the Christmas lights for those pine rows and the tree rows. So this will give us an opportunity to run new conduit out there with our new electric outlets and make it safer and better for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that'll change your lighting down there quite a bit, won't it?
it'll help us. I think it'll really
Yeah,
look good.
I do too.
Yeah,
Give us a good perimeter.
we've had a few shorts out there, and they were really difficult to track down.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have a fresh new run and know exactly what we have there. But I think that's about all I have for now.
Okay. Questions, comments? You're up.
I just want to add a little bit to what Sean said. I had a lot of people come to me this summer and say the teamwork between the recreation department and the maintenance department was outstanding. And I can't agree with him more. The staff that we had this summer was top notch. And I want to thank each and every one of them. And I've personally done that. I have one seasonal person left. My last lifeguard left today. And she even gave me a hug, and she says, we had a great team. And we owe a lot of that to Larry. He's really, having us work on this leadership and teamwork, and it's showing. So I'm very proud of each and every one that worked with us this summer. With that being said, I also had a great summer with my recreation staff. And everyone's wanting to come back next year. And I think with that much teamwork, we can definitely build on what we did this summer together. So with that being said, we had 5 imagination stations, a total of 250 kits total. We had 245 of those kits go out. So we only had a couple left. We had a really good day at Slip and Slide in June. We did have one of those canceled due to the weather in July. Wipeout, it was a huge success. We moved it to Pike Lake this summer, and it worked out really well for my staff and for Sean. His staff said it was great out there. We were able to add that one additional piece with the ARPA money, which made a big difference, and you can just see how much fun the kids have with that. So Larry came to me, I believe it was last week, and he says, if you want to move forward and offer a couple more of those, I think that we can do that. So I'm doing that. I'm working on that now. I'm putting those 2 extra dates on the calendar, and I'm very excited. Another thing that, we used some ARPA money for and added some additional pieces out at the skate park. Our numbers out there have tripled this year. We had 63 participants on August 11th at Glow Night, while I had a concert going on over in Lucerne Park with over 300 people there. So we were able to pull off 2 different locations and had really good numbers and a lot of happy people. I also need to thank Linda Chastain. She is my sponsor out at the skate park. She is a State Farm agent here in town, and she comes out there and gets on a skateboard with the kids and participates and hands out so much stuff. They go home with just armfuls of stuff. And then Papa John's, fed the kids that night, and to watch everyone to come together from, I had a 2-year-old all the way up to a grandparent. So just watching all of that happen just makes me so happy. We have a concert yet this Friday. The 1985 is coming to Central Park. Last year we had about 800 to 1,000 people there. And then I had to cancel a movie night, but I was able to reschedule that for next Friday night. And I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about is the Lone Star concert.
Yeah.
I know I had a lot of people, Steve being one of them, that reached out to me. I'm estimating about 6,000 to 7,000 people. The entire day was wonderful. The concert was great. We had a family that set up pretty close to the side of the stage, and they were there from about 7 o'clock that morning until about 10:30, 11 o'clock that night, and they watched our entire team come together and put that concert on and tear it down and make it look like nothing ever happened there. And they came over to me and they said, if everyone worked as well as your team, this world would be a better place. And I couldn't agree more. So that's what I wanted to add with that concert. So we have our work cut out for us next summer.
You're gonna have a hard time topping that.
It was a great day.
It was awesome.
It was a great day.
And I told
So-
several people around me that the best part of the whole thing is an hour after it was over, you'd never know anything was
No.
going on down there.
No, my staff and Sean's
Yeah.
staff,
It's,
they work
it's
so hard.
amazing, yeah.
And it all comes
Amazing.
down and it's cleaned up and you go home and think, wow, that was a great day.
Yeah, a lot of times, the picnic shelters are rented Saturday morning, so we have to have them prepared and clean and ready by that night,
Yeah.
so they're good to go for the next
Well,
day.
they
Yeah,
do a
nice.
good job.
Well, yeah, and then
Sure.
Stephanie's lifeguards this year helped out tearing
Yes.
stuff down at the
Oh, did
stage. It makes a big difference when everybody's working together
Yep.
to accomplish a goal, and
Absolutely.
it really happened this year.
And we need to include Suzanne in that also because she's been a big support to us and she did a great job and she even helped me on those days. So it took every one of us, including her, so.
Face is red.
Always red.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. Other matters?
I'd just like to say, they gave me some accolades there, but it's really Stephanie and Sean, their leadership with the crews, they really make my job easier, and I appreciate it so much.
Well,
Thank you.
and I'll make one comment that Stephanie said as far as your summer help wanting to come back. That says so much to me
does.
personally.
Yes, it does.
And that reflects the leadership. And we are so blessed to have you folks in this community.
All of you.
To me, management for years, that means more to me than some of the other things
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah.
That's very unusual on this day where you have young kids want to come back from year to year.
And I've been on this board a long time. We've gone through a lot of recreation directors, and every time we change, I say, oh boy, we're in trouble now.
You are in trouble because I keep adding more.
It seems to just keep getting better.
Well, thank you.
And I keep thinking, how can they do this, get better every year? But it seems like we do, so congratulations. And Sean, we all know he does a great job.
Yeah.
And I think Larry here has picked the right people.
And Larry,
He's a good
keeps
man.
saying it's all about communication.
Yep.
And I feel like our team works together and we communicate really well.
Yep.
So,
I've got recognition of a couple team members too. We're thrilled to announce Rob Moyer as a well-deserved Bruce for June. His unwavering dedication and exceptional contributions at Central Park have not only set a high standard, but have also left an impression on the entire team. Rob's remarkable commitment to his responsibilities, coupled with his team-oriented approach, has consistently inspired those around him. So congratulations to Rob on the Team Member of the Month for June. And then we are delighted to honor Dylan Thomas as the July Team Member of the Month for his exceptional dedication and outstanding contributions. His leadership of the Mo Crew has played a pivotal role in maintaining the pristine appearance of our parks. His efforts reflect our shared values and contribute significantly to our success. Congratulations to Dylan on the Team Member of the Month for July. So I'm proud of both of them.
I tell you what, these guys really look proud when
They
they
do.
get those awards. They really do. It's nice.
And the good thing about it, in this last voting, where we chose Dylan, we had 9 individuals nominated. So that tells a little bit about our
Yeah.
team. I mean, it's just everybody that's worthy, and it comes down to sometimes, you might have 4 votes for one or 3 for another, and it's that close, but it's gratifying to see that there's several nominees, it's just not
Yeah.
one person standing out, so that's
That's
a good
great.
feeling, so.
Okay, anything else anybody have? Meeting review, I think we need to plan on the pickleball people being around for a long time. And eventually, I don't know, we're maybe gonna need to look at some way to make them happy if that can be done.
Yeah, I think we,
There's times I wonder, but they, I mean, they are growing. They are growing and I understand why they want more. But boy, there's budgets and things like that we have to work with, so. Maybe Diane can get us a bunch more money somewhere.
Trying.
I'll teach you.
Some of the things they say are accurate and true, I understand.
Yeah.
But, and actually Saturday, I did go down and talk to tennis players at Center Lake, and the lines are confusing to them. Maybe just to the group I talked to, but when you start adding a bunch of different lines, it is confusing to the tennis players, at least the ones I talked
Yeah.
to. And Larry, I think your point that, you know, we can't be everything to everybody. And you try to make the parks diverse for every group.
Yes.
And it's hard to accommodate everybody, I understand that. So, like Larry, like Steve says, maybe down the road that we can come up with some other solution.
might be a good KYLA project, if something to come up with
Yeah.
a sports complex or
Yep.
something where they have, 12 courts, 16 courts together or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
I agree, and I was even gonna suggest maybe doing fundraising and building their own, but when 5,000 seemed like a lot of money and.
What it did to me until Larry
Yeah.
said 125,000.
And that was for, what, 4 courts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they want 8, why? Plus the land and everything, it's gonna be a lot more than that. Okay. With all that, need a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion and second to adjourn, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, gang.
Yep, thank you.
Stephanie, okay, go ahead.